All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Happy Wednesday, I suppose. Happy middle of the week. Happy hump day, whichever you want to call it. Welcome to today's Microsoft Flight Simulator live stream. I am your host and pilot, as always, Uncle B. Today we are in the A321, a nonstop service from Denver to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Gerald R. Ford International, named after one of the former presidents of the United States, I guess, is from the area. Maybe that's why they named it after him. But anyway, that should be about our flight time, an hour 54. This is a real world route that's flown by Frontier Airlines. So, and of course, today's flight brought to you by Parasox Airlines. Parasox, just because you have a pear, not a fruit pear, a pair of socks does not mean they have to match. Airline CEO Scruffy Tam will show you his mismatched socks on stream. Although sometimes he'll wear matching socks, but not always. You have to tune into his channel and find out what he's up to. You just never know. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave the live weather on. Good morning, Paradox. And we are going to have, but we're going to advance the time a little bit because it's nearly 5 in the morning. The sun's still coming up and all that. So, yeah, we'll get a little bit of sun in the sky for our flight this morning. So. Not a lot, maybe just a little bit before sunrise. We'll try to advance the time. Basically, so the gate that we're starting at is the correct gate right here, Alpha 38. That is where this flight originated from the other day. We're going to taxi right on over to 34 left, skedaddle out, climb out, hang a right, and just go all the way up over here, over. And we're going to land at Grand Rapids right here. Now, here's the tricky part. Okay. We don't have an arrival portion of the flight. It's directly right on into runway 08 right. So, although, see, there's overlapping. So this is the beginning of our approach right here, Jake's. So we have to be at 2,700 feet right here. Okay. So from Maddie, and then we have JVL. Between JVL and Jake's, we got to drop from like 32,000 feet all the way to 2,700 feet. Now, we're not going to do that all at once, and there is quite a distance between the two. I think it's 146 between. So yeah, it's from JVL to Jake's. That's 146 nautical miles. So we're going to be doing our nice little step downs. At this point here, we have to be at 2,400 feet. So 27. In order to capture the glide slope, we have to be at 2,400 for the ILS approach. So if we have to, there's like a 7 or 8 nautical mile distance between these two. I'll go ahead and drop it a little bit more in altitude. We should be able to capture the glide slope right there. And then we'll be on the ground. Okay. That's the plan for today. 36,000 feet is our expected cruising altitude for today. So, yeah, it should be a nice flight. We'll leave the weather on, like I said, and we'll deal with things as they happen. So not sure how it's going to be. I just kind of checked things out yesterday. I did the startup of the aircraft to make sure it does start up still. So I'm hoping that's still the case. Morning, Joseph. So, but hopefully everything goes well today. I know a lot of people were having some issues yesterday after Sim Update 12 got released. The sim was a bit fussy, but hopefully ours is not. So yeah, that's so we'll see how it gets on and go from there. So if you want to fly along, you can start off on runway 34 left there if you want, or you can pick one of the other gates and taxi out with me if you so desire. I got to check my oh, we are in Southeast Asia. There we go. There's the ocular proof. We are on the correct server. Here is today's route. This just is the departure runway, the departure route, the arrival airport, our direct arrival, and the ILS approach. So there we go. We are on the Southeast Asia server. There we go. So we'll give it a few more minutes and I'll pop in. We'll get the aircraft started up, push back, and drive over. We'll drive our way over to the our runway, and then we'll be in the air. So hopefully everybody's doing well. So in the meantime, while we still got a few minutes before I spawn in and get the aircraft going, good news from the surgeon. Everything looks well. I was a bit worried because sometimes with the pain, it's like, did I do something and did I cause any issues that is going to require, meaning, that I'm going to end up having another surgery? Fortunately, that is not the case. So I've been cleared to start physical therapy. First appointment on the 4th of April. So what I think I'm going to try to do, now he said 1 to 2 days a week for physical therapy. But if it's 1 day a week, as long as I do stuff at home on my own, then he's okay with that. But he says no more than 2 days a week. So what I think I'm going to do for right now is we'll have stream on a Monday and a Friday. Okay. That way it's just that frees up the middle of the week for physical therapy. And I think initially it's going to be quite painful until, things loosen up a bit more and the muscles get back to some semblance of normal and everything. I think that's the best I can hope for, right? Or do is a Monday stream and a Friday stream. That leaves the rest of the week to worry about physical therapy or to kind of rest my arm if I, so like I'm thinking maybe if I do physical therapy on Tuesdays, that gives me Wednesday and Thursday to kind of recover at first until I build up enough tolerance and things aren't so painful. But I think that first couple of weeks or so, it's gonna be pretty tough. So um, so that's where I think that's the best I can do for streaming wise right now is a Monday and a Friday. So um, this wasn't exactly planned. But it's okay. Get another stream out there for everybody to enjoy and all that. So give me just a second, folks. All right, had to take my Tylenol for the morning. It should kick in right about somewhere during the flight. Okay, a few more minutes. Okay. You should be able to keep up Paradox. I don't think there'd be any reason why you can't. So yeah, that's perfectly fine. More than welcome to. Yeah, this plane, LVFR, I think's done a pretty great job with these planes and keeping them up to date. I don't know if now the other thing too is especially tomorrow with the marketplace update, how many updates to aircraft are coming tomorrow to fall in line with the sim update 12 stuff. That's the only question. So I will advance the time, but the live weather is will stay keep that on. I don't think it should be too bad today in the air, but yeah. All right, a few more minutes. Yeah, you're more than welcome to fly along. I mean, there's plenty of other airports along the way people want to jump in. There's Omaha, there's Des Moines, you know, Lincoln, you know. St. Joseph. I don't know. That I don't know if there's such a thing as a St. Joseph. I think there's sometimes St. Joseph, but not all the time St. Joseph. So yeah, next week, yeah, we'll try the new schedule next week. I don't want to try to push things too much this week. Um, I wasn't expecting to get cleared, to be honest, for physical therapy, but because I was just like, man, something's. I just had that feeling that something wasn't going to be right. But anyways, all right, about another minute or so, we'll spawn in and get going here. Just want to give people time to get themselves sorted, get their drinks, their lunch, their breakfast, whichever. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know if anybody else was going to, so I just want to give people the opportunity to. Plus, it's easier for me to say hello to everybody before I spawn in and get the aircraft going, because when I'm trying to pay attention, make sure I've got everything set up properly. It's easy to forget to look at the chat, and then I don't want to ignore people either. So that's why I try to give about a 15-minute grace period so that everybody has a chance to kind of come in and say hello. All right, I think we are all set. Let's go in here and get going. All right, let's do this first. Let's get the time advanced a little bit just so that we can see. I think that'll work. That should give. Yeah, look at that color in the sky. I like it. All right, we got to do a couple things here. Let's get the power on. Denver clearance delivery Frontier for 9 or 8 IFR to Grand Rapids, ready to copy. 14. Frontier 49 or 8 cleared to Grand Rapids Airport 5. Takeoff runway 30. Stabilize here in a second. There we go. Oops. Go for pushback first. That's all right. So push back and go to the right. Look, it's a little kitty cat on the back of the plane. Look at that. Aw, gee. Yeah. Yeah, usually in the morning, Paradox, Southeast Asia server is pretty quiet. So yeah, that's why I try to pick it, because normally it's not that busy. Although it may depend on the airport as well. We had 6 meters there for a moment. It's like everybody was like, oh, he's flying. Yeah. To see something else. And next week we'll get back to the... So I think what we'll do is on Mondays we'll do the Euchre's flights, and then on Fridays we'll do something different. You know, we'll fly a different plane or something. Just to do something a little different. All right, there we go. Yeah, it probably would, Paradox. It probably would. There we go. Oh, look at those clouds. Look at that. Wow. We're heading right for that, I'm pretty sure. I think. Maybe not. Guess we'll find out here in a minute. That looks fantastic, doesn't it? It's almost like it's real and stuff. Woo! Alright. Altimeter should be all set. Yep. 29 or 78. Here in the live weather. We're already at 53, almost 5,400 feet in the altitude. bump there. Put that speed bump there in the road. No, it came out yesterday. It's already out, Paradox. It's already out. Everybody got it all at the same time. Boy, I tell you what, if we had to wait till tomorrow for sim update, yeah, and the PC users already got it, that's just like to me that's like a nice little middle finger to the Xbox users. No, everybody, sim updates and world updates, everybody gets at the same time. It's the marketplace that we wait for. Well, for us, it's on the Xbox, it's like you wait forever. Although they're trying to get the backlog, they're turning it back over to the developers or something, how they're fixing the backlog. Yeah, no, we got it all yesterday as well. Like when I got back from my doctor's appointment, it was already downloaded. Alright, here we go. Nice long runway today. And the runway we're landing on is the longest one there at Florida International. So it should be more than capable of handling the A320 and the A321. Right, folks, quick update from the flight deck. We are #1 for departure and #1 in your hearts. So sit back, relax, enjoy today's nonstop service to Grand Rapids Airport. We'll see you on the ground shortly. Let's go. Alright, away we go. Boy, that departure route did not seem in line with our runway. It was supposed to be like a straight out from here. We're supposed to be like right over this road right here where the tip of the aircraft is, the nose of the aircraft. That seemed like that's where we were supposed to be kind of flying over. That's a bit odd. Put your sunglasses on, everybody. We'll be looking right at the sun the whole way. And we should have a bit of a tailwind, so that should get us there a little bit quicker, in theory. We're passing 13,000. So it should go there next altitude here in a little. Pop back outside once we're climbing again. There we go. There's Paradox right there. Let's check the picture here. Oops. Ooh, that's got a neat picture right there. Ah, not with the... There we are. We got our pictures of the flight there. Nice morning sunlight. Ooh, excuse me. Nice morning sunlight. And there we go. We are past 18. Alright, there's that. Morning, Mick. How are you? Yeah, enjoyed that farm again last night. Oh, so let's talk about that. So, yeah, I really, that is a pretty neat little game, although the timing of how long it takes stuff, like, you know, you have to wait 5 more minutes for this to be done, and then you can get, you know, been a while since you flew. That's okay. Well, so maybe that's something we can do, is on Mondays we'll do the Junkers flight. We'll do a leg of the trip across America, the lower 48. And then on Fridays we can do a jetliner. Although I am kind of curious to see, is there going to be any updates from developers like LVFR, for instance, you know, to bring things more in line with Sim Update 12. That's the big question. And how quickly are we going to get updates from developers? You know, that's I think the other big question that people might have. So, yeah. Yeah, I would think so, but it's how quickly are they going to get pushed? That's the big, you know, because, you know, with the most recent roadmap update, they finally kind of said, you know, this is where things are, this is why things have been happening like this. And so now it's a matter of how quickly are the developers going to get down to work to get things turned around and submitted back to Microsoft for placement in the marketplace for updates and all that kind of stuff. So, but I you know, the only thing that kind of bugs me about that is if they knew, like last year, right around, you know, going into the 40th anniversary update, that it was going to be, you know, they were so backlogged. Why didn't they implement that change like last year? Because then going into Sim Update 12, hopefully then we would have had like a bunch of stuff available like the first couple of weeks after Sim Update 12 was released. You know, so it's why did they take that long to make the decision? You know, that's what kind of gets me, but what can we do? Alright, should be one more climb here. But yeah, I really enjoyed that last night. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, me too, but it's just like, why couldn't we have gotten that figured out much sooner? You know, there would have been a lot nicer, I think, to be able to have more things available, you know, right away. So, but what can you do? You know, it is what it is. But yeah. So I want to talk about last night a little bit more, not in the context of the game that Nick was playing with Bex, which is it's a pretty neat. It's a cutesy farming simulator. It's not that serious, but there are things that you have to do to, you know, advance your farm, and you want to expand it, basically. Oglie. Continue to Oglie. But this is the thing that I'd like to touch on. So last night we had somebody come into chat who, as far as we could tell, was somebody Persian. It's called. What's it called? Nick, what's the game called? I can't remember. It's like it's kind of cartoony. It's a cutesy. It's a fun little farm sim. It's not like super serious like FS22 or anything. It's more. I don't know how to describe it. But anyway, the thing I was trying to get to was no, not Stardew. No, it's I'll figure it out. can't never keep up with Two Tones Discord. It's like every 2 seconds there's another at everyone. It seems like. uh, it's called. It's called. Farm Together. That's what it's called. Farm Together. Farm Together. Anyways, as I was trying to say. Sorry. So what I was trying to say was we had somebody come into chat last night who it appears that they're Persian, kind of like Captain Orange, which is fine. It's not a it's not a it's nothing to be fussy about. Whatever. It's just they put the word peach in, but it was in Persian, right? The language. So, remembering that it was Nowruz recently, I tried to write basically that wished them happy New Year, that hopefully they had a nice celebration over the weekend and things like that. Kind of like what Captain Ara showed with, he went to his parents' house and they had a big celebration, and and part of that is because it's showing an act of kindness to somebody who may not speak the same language as us, but if you know something about that culture and you say, oh, that's right, it was Nowruz over the weekend, or the fact that like Ramadan started, like I know Mela celebrates Ramadan. It's being kind enough as a fellow human being to say, I hope you had a nice celebration, or that you had time with your family, just basic things that you can show somebody an act of kindness. And it also is important, I think, that you try to say that in their language. It may not translate all the way correctly, but it's better to try, to communicate that to them in their own language than nothing at all, because the thing at the end of the day is that may lead to a subscription, a follow, whatever, and to me it's just like a simple good thing to do. But it kind of like like when I wish Captain Arash a Happy New Year, I translated it from English to Persian, right? It may not be, like I said before, it may not translate 100% correctly, but Captain Arash, for instance, would say, thank you, like he understands the what's the word? I suddenly took my tongue. He's not going to get mad that I'm trying to communicate something to him in his own language, in his native tongue. He takes that as it's a sign of respect to him, even though he does speak English. It's part of who he is as a person, that he would celebrate that. Just like the same thing with Amela and Ramadan. It's knowing your friends well enough, or people that you associate or that through streaming, for instance, that this is something that's important to them. And that's what I was trying to do. And then people get worried, like, what did you just? Well, I didn't even get a chance to explain. It's just, like, I know some of the people I know long enough from streaming that I know things about them, not like deeply personal stuff, not that I would share those things, but just, like I know, for instance, my friend Nick, he likes aviation, historical aviation stuff, and he likes space travel kind of things and stuff like that. So the other day was the anniversary of the around the world balloon flight in the orbiter capsule. These two guys went around the world in like 19 days, and in this balloon with this little gondola capsule thing was suspended below it, and they but part of that is one of the people on board that capsule. There's only two guys. One is Swiss and the other's British. So to me it's imperative that I recognize that somebody from the UK was part of that. It's not sucking up or anything like that. It's just that it's a sign of respect. Oh, I remember, this happened on this day. They completed that flight, and it's they're so it's just trying to recognize things about people and say, oh yeah, this, or we joke about a Bella and food. Bella loves to talk about food. And I'll see something about food and I'll send the Bella the link and say, check this out. So it's just it's a sign of just loving your friends enough to know something about them to say something like, oh, hey, remember this, or check this out, what do you think, or that's all it is. It's just those little things of kindness, and that's part of the problem, I think, in the world. We forget those little things. We get so wrapped up in our own things that we forget just to be kind for just even a couple minutes. And I'm not trying to preach or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I think that's why, if people just take those just a minute or something to be kind to somebody else, you just never know. That may change that person's life at that particular moment. Not like in a major way, but it just may, it may make them feel better. It may make them feel more at ease or more welcome or whatever, right? But it's up to them to play that part in it as well. So yeah, I wasn't trying to say anything like crazy in the chat last night. And I think the other thing too is, and this is directed to you, Joseph, if Mick trusts me as a mod and somebody comes in and Mick can't always catch what somebody says in the chat, right? That's not a fair expectation of him. If he trusts me enough as a mod to communicate to somebody in the chat who isn't speaking English, that's all that should matter. It shouldn't be your place to question, what did you just, like, you didn't even give me a chance to even type it in what I was trying to say to the person. You got very questionable, like you were questioning what I was, like what was I up to? That, to me, that's a sign of disrespect. That's not appropriate, if it was your channel, then that's acceptable. Like if Mick was like, hey, what was that all about? Well, give me a moment to try to explain what I was trying to tell the person. But when other people question it, it's just like, man, if Mick didn't trust me to be there as his mod, then I don't think I would have that standard. So anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Everything I just said just went. I might as well be talking to ATC every 2 seconds, right? You know, it's like when I went to Germany, we learned a bit of their language, we learned a bit about the culture, because what you learn in the movies is not anywhere near real life, right? You know, so you know, it's just trying to be I guess in a way, a better person, a better human being, and just trying to be more a better person each day. You know, just like the other day, I'm waiting for the bus, and I'm sitting there minding my business, not bought, you know, just sitting there waiting. There's one comes by, did you see that food truck this leave? Because I guess like a food bank has a delivery truck. And this woman goes, did the truck just leave? I said, yeah, why? They were supposed to come at 1, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess, I don't know, you know. But she was all concerned because she's like, well, I'm supposed to get food today, and they were supposed to come later. Now I got to run in there and get my share, and otherwise I don't have anything. Okay. I don't know what to tell you. You know. But I didn't like curse at her and go like, what should I care? I don't have any control over any of that stuff. But you know, she felt that she had to tell me those things. You know. So I'm gonna sit there and go like, yep. Okay. Have a nice day. Because for whatever reason, she felt it necessary to tell me this stuff. But that's okay. I try to fight it, but I can't. In one ear, out the other. I don't know why. Sometimes I don't know why I do story time or talk about things like that. It doesn't make any difference. At the end of the day, it doesn't really. We're just cruising along here at 36,000 feet. Here is the A321. This is the Pratt & Whitney, I think this is the Pratt & Whitney engine 8. Let's get a closer look, shall we? I think this is the Pratt. I would think that it would be later this summer, but I think it's something. It's either that or it's the leak. You see anybody in the? Oh, there's a few passengers. A couple of people are like hunched over, like they're already grabbing the sick bag, even though we've got a nice smooth flight so far. There's something on the wing. Yes. That should be happening, although, so that was one of my big questions, right? And apparently from what has been said by PMDG, they are keen on getting the aircraft to the marketplace, but how quickly that will happen is, get a little in-cabin service there, and you can go to the loo if you need to. But how quickly will that happen? Because there's still some things that have to, some concessions that have to be made in order to have the aircraft on the Xbox, from what I understand. So, um, so how quickly they're going to do that is anybody's guess. But because now Microsoft has basically turned over testing back to the developers, hopefully it goes very quickly. That's going to be the key, I think. But it's just, there's no, like, I don't think they have a time frame of when those things will start to happen, because then it's going to go back on the developers, and then when people are like, well, how come we're still waiting? It's like, to me, it's almost a no-win situation. The developers are going to get crapped on if they take forever to get it on the marketplace. Microsoft was getting crapped on because all this stuff was on the being held up, and the developers are like, we want to get it in the marketplace, let's go, kind of thing. So now it's another test of patience, really. If how long are Xbox simmers going to wait now? Okay, so we got the AN225 yesterday, and we got the it's another Antonov aircraft. It's a bush plane, but it's a biplane bush plane. It's just, it looks really cool, but I'm just like, And of course, here's what got me is they released it on the Xbox marketplace, and it is discounted already. That doesn't give me a warm fuzzy. Like, okay, so you didn't get enough people on the PC side to buy it to make it worthwhile, like you were hoping to, right when it, because that was released on the PC like just over a month ago. So the sales must not been that spectacular. Oh, it's a dev sale. Okay. Well, still, it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's a bit of desperation. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but it just felt kind of like, wow. You release it on the Xbox and you're already discounting it. I don't know that I'm going to buy it. And it's nothing against what they're trying to do. It's more of I don't think I would probably fly it once if I could find an airfield where I can take off and land in it, and then that would be it. It would be like a one-time thing. So I don't know. It's just it's nothing that I feel like, oh, I gotta have this, But I do respect what they're trying to do. If me personally, if I had the means, I'd rather donate to them directly to help out with the. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about, Paradox. Yeah, so you paid full price, and it comes to the Xbox, and they're like, oh, let's discount it right up. It's like, that doesn't look good overall. Especially if you're saying over the next year we're trying to help, whatever proceeds we get is going to go towards this. Why would you discount it right off the bat? Because then PC folks are going to be like, wait a minute, I paid the full price. And now Xbox simmers are going to be like, oh, well, I could get it if I want it. I can get it at a discount. So, yeah, I don't know. It seems a bit suspect. But no, I think it looks cool, and I think the developers did a great job creating it. But I don't know that it's just nothing that I feel like I have to have in my family. Like I said, I would much rather, if I had the means, more than $20, I would rather donate directly to the cause, and be and be okay with that. But some of these are pretty close together. This one's 18. So yeah, it's just. But I'm curious to see what happens tomorrow. What are we going to see now? I think speculation is we'll get the Osprey in the marketplace on the Xbox. Beyond that, there's no telling. And what updates are we going to get tomorrow as well? That's going to be the big question. But we'll see. We shall see. Today's flight brought to you by Parasox Airline. Parasox, not the fruit, means a pair of socks. Just because you have a pair of socks does not mean they have to match airline seatbelts. We'll show you because match socks if you ask them nicely. If you want to know more about Parasox Airline, head over to where you want to join. First you go to FS Hub and you search for Parasox. And you submit an application. And yeah, then you get approved and you're in. And you just start knocking out the miles. We do have routes. We do have Frontier Airlines, EasyJet, Classic Pan Am. You never know when more is going to come. So go submit your application to Parasox Airline. You won't be disappointed. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way to do something different in the sim. And it doesn't mean you have to fly airliners. You can fly whatever you want. But it's a very fun way to kind of do more in the sim, I think. Go check it out. If you have questions, you can always message Scruffy Town, or I'll try to answer them if I can. They have challenges, they have all kinds of stuff. Look at that kitty cat. Oh, what a cute kitty cat, huh? Joseph, is that what your kitty cat looks like? I think that kitty cat on the back of the plane wants to cuddle with you, Joseph. He won't hurt you much. So anyways, Yeah, it is, isn't it? Well, I mean, outside, unless you have your sound really cranked up, it can be kind of loud too. But yeah, inside yeah. You know, and that's the thing with these newer planes and the newer engine types and all that. That, you know, if you listen to like a Boeing 707, those engines were really loud. You know, even the early engines on the 747 were really loud. But now it's just nice and quiet. You know? You just never know. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, let's have a look at our little flight computer here. So, four, six. Alright, so we still got quite a ways to go to get to Maddie, and then we'll start dropping altitude from there. So JVL to Jakes, that's what we're looking for. That massive drop. We'll go from Maddie to JVL, we'll go to 33,000 feet, which isn't a massive drop down. But once we get to 33, then we'll just keep going until we get to 27. So we'll get there eventually. So yeah, we have 146. Yeah, so that checks out. So we've got some distance to play with to get us down to that low. And so, hey, Scruffy, how are you? Speaking of the devil, speaking of Scruffy, not the devil. Speaking of the Soxiest streamer on Twitch. There's the airline CEO, Scruffy Fan. Welcome, how are you? Got to work. Oh! Sounds like a plan. Well, I'm glad to be a part of your morning while you're waiting for the students to get themselves sorted and show up for class on time. I suppose that can be a very, you just never know when they're going to get their act together and actually show up on time. Be prepared for the day, you know. Nice to see you here. All right, Paradox. Hopefully it's a good appointment. Too serious or whatever. But thanks for flying along for a while you could. Appreciate it. We'll see you around, I'm sure, and somebody's stream at some point. Yeah, it was. I did enjoy your Vision Jet flying the other day. I just missed a lot of it because I was having to get ready to go, and then when I got out the shower, or greatly, yeah. See, when I was at the community college, they would always tell students that they would always push the limit. You know, it's just like, yeah, you know, when you get that grade and it affects your student loans or your scholarships or whatever. Nobody can blame but yourself. You can't blame anybody else. Well, they tried to, but yeah, the vision. So yeah, when I was flying, or you were flying, not when I was. You were flying, and I got to get ready to go, so I cleaned myself up, gave myself a haircut and everything. And next thing you know, when I when I came out to check to see what's going on, I look at the time and I'm like, oh, I gotta get ready to go out the door to catch the bus and everything. So, yeah, good stuff. You got me in a bit of a fuddle. Oh, I missed that part. I have to go back and check that out. That's okay. I mean, it happened the other day when I flew the DC-3. We landed and all I did was I think I just hit the brakes a little too hard. There goes the nose of the plane right over. But that's okay. It happens. Oh, I think, because I've had that happen before where like on your arrival portion, parts of it will like not show up in the flight plan. It'll like disappear and the plane will kind of go do its own thing. And then you have to like try to get it direct to, if you remember where you're at in the flight plan, you're like, I got to go over here. Hello, Mella. I've had that happen numerous times. I'm hoping that's fixed now, but with syrup at 12, but there's no telling. Because I noticed, so like we're supposed to get, so when you do a route in the world map, right? You make your flight plan in the world map. Our navigation stuff is supposed to be the most current it's supposed to, it's supposed to be the same it's the Iraq. Yeah, I've done that too. Or if you remember where, kind of like how your approach is supposed to go, or your arrival portion, you can just go direct to, and then it usually sorts itself out. Or you might just have to keep going direct to. It can be a bit overwhelming, but I noticed, like, I was looking at the flight from the airport I was supposed to fly from on Monday in the DC-3 into the larger airport at there in Rio de Janeiro. The problem is that the arrival portion going into final approach, it's not correct in the sim. It's like you're missing stuff, and you can't add in you can't, unless you build the route by hand, along the way in the sim. There's this stuff that's missing, and I don't know why that is, because we're supposed to be on the same sort of that's supposed to be updated every 4 months. So I don't know if the information in the sim is outdated already, and they just because I would have thought maybe we would have gotten maybe that's supposed to come here in the next week or two as another Iraq update. But yeah, I don't know. There's some stuff that just doesn't seem even. So yeah, you put together the flight plan from the flight deck there on the Vision Jet. You plug in all your route information there on the little FMS. So it should be correct then, but it for whatever reason the sim is not accepting it. So I wonder if that's what it is in the sim, even though they say that the Iraq information is up to date, it may not really be up to date. I'm a bit suspicious of that, but who knows? I could be wrong. But when I looked at that plan, yeah, see, that's the thing is, so either, that's why I'm thinking either the information in the sim is incorrect, even though you pulled the information from Navigraph, I think. You plotted it out in Navigraph, but it didn't. So that's why I think there's something wrong with the navigation information in the sim. You know, it's not 100% up to date. That's my uh, that's my that's what it kind of tells me. Something's not on the up and up. Ooh, took a train visit through the area and trained some world did a Caltrain service. Nice. I miss riding the train Peninsula Corridor. It's so much fun. I can't like, you know, I get it that they want to electrify the whole line, but there's just something about the trains that are there now that it just there's a comfortable. It's comfortable. It's just you know it's part. It becomes part of your life, you know, and you know if I want to ride an electric train, I'll ride the BART train. You know, 'cause those Bombardier trains on BART look fantastic. I like them. You know, they look pretty snappy in the BART colors, but um, yeah, I miss there's just something about the older, you had Nippon Gallery cab cars. There's just something familiar about them. There's something that just you feel like, well, in a way, it's like your home. You just because a lot of people commute from the South Bay up to San Francisco on those trains, and it's just like that. You spend a lot of time. That means it's an hour and a half sometimes, back and forth. And I just don't know that the electric trains there, once they electrify the line and bring over these other train systems, it just isn't going to feel the same. You know, that's the sad part, I think. But yeah, I've been tinkering around. I did look at that new German route that Joe's been showing off. That train system is especially the locomotive is probably the closest to what probably would power the trains when I was in Germany back in the late '80s, early '90s. You know, that's as near as I can tell. Because I did look. Uh, it does cost a lot of money, and it's cost them more than they probably anticipated because they've had to when they were laying down new track bed, and over the years because of the earthquakes and the amount of rail traffic back and forth daily, that everything underneath was really damaged. It was all fractured, so that's like one of the stations. They basically had to raise the platform. They poured all this gravel and brought it up. You know, it's not the same as it was when I rode there a couple years ago. It was like it was shocking because I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't the same station as before. It was all brand new. It was kind of like, ugh. It'd be like if they took the train station there in Palo Alto and just created something that doesn't. It just looks like, ugh. Like I would hate to see the old station there, the one that's been there that I know that I can identify as Palo Alto. If they did away with that, I'd just be like, you guys are insane. This is just, but it's all concrete. It's just all this, it just looks like, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. Like, it's shocking. Well, they've been talking about it for some time, but uh, yeah, it's just but I don't know. I'm glad at least if the line is once they electrify it, I I could say at least in 2021 I did ride on the Nippon Gallery cab car, and I always will have fond memories of riding those trains, and there's nothing that's going to change that. It's just, just like when I rode Bart back in the day, when I would take Bart from where I grew up and go to Berkeley to go comic book shopping. You know, the older Bart system, the Bart trains back then, they looked ahead of their time. You know, they look very futuristic. And now, the newer cars, I think they look very smart. They're, the way that the color scheme. Oh, okay, Paradox. We can always hang out here. It's all good. Um, it just looks good on the Bombardier train sets. Um, but But see, for me, Bart, it wasn't so much that I was like gaga over the trains. It was just those memories of those trips. When I was in high school, for instance, I'm going to Berkeley to go comic book shopping on the weekends or something. And so it was just a mode of transportation. But riding the train on Peninsula Corridor, on the other hand, was more about part of it was like me going from San Jose up to San Francisco to a Giants game. So um, it's just like you ride on Long Island Railroad, and for you, it's not so much about, you could probably identify, okay, this is an older version of the M7, for instance, or this is the new M9 or whatever, because you've ridden it long enough that you can identify. You're like, oh, I remember the first time I rode on the M3 or something like that, right? So it's you feel that connection, and when those trains go away, you're just riding on the M3, even though they were probably crap, but you're like, but I missed the crap, So, that's just, once you're comfortable with something, it's kind of odd to see it go away, I think. But it's like, well, things have to advance. Better trains operate better, supposed to perform better, less maintenance, and all these other things, and, but it doesn't feel the same. Yeah. Like for me, if back when I used to go to Berkeley, if they had the train systems they have now, it'd still be like, oh, I took Bart to get here, but it was more about that feeling of, going through the tunnels to get to your destination, because some of the stuff runs above ground and some of it runs, kind of like, Long Island Railroad. Some of it is above ground and some of it's below ground. And or like if I took Bart from the East Bay over to San Francisco, you go through the Trans Bay too, and you're underwater for that period of time. And so you're just rushing along in that tunnel so you get to the other side. But it's all underground from there. It's like a subway, basically. But like, okay, we're at Embarcadero. That's the first stop, I think, in San Francisco once you come out of the Bay too. So yeah, part of it's the journey. It for me, it wasn't about the train system except for the Peninsula Corridor. But I wish I paid more attention to the trains, because I wasn't a big train person when I took the trains in Germany. It was just a mode of transportation to me. Like, okay, I take the train up to here, or like Stuttgart, for instance, for the day. Because you could get off the train and then walk a little bit, and there'd be like a big pedestrian area with stores and restaurants and pubs and all kinds of stuff. So I didn't pay attention. I wish I had that, but of course back then I couldn't have known that I would be a bit of a train fanatic and go, dang, I wish I had taken pictures of the trains and like the locomotives and all that. But I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about drinking and meeting young German, German women my age, or partying and stuff. So, all right, let's have a look here. Still got a bit to go. Do I know the 22nd Street station? Are you talking about in New York City? No. I've never ridden the subway or anything in NYC. That's the one thing I've not done in New York. I've been to NYC twice, but I've never... Yeah, twice. I've never been on the subway though. Oh, Caltrain, yes. Yes. Oh, that from many years ago. I think I've talked about this before. That was one of the dodgiest stations on that route for many, many years. Like, it was just, it always looked suspect. Like, I always felt like a bit odd whenever we stopped there at that station and people were getting off. I'm just like, ooh. I'd get a chill down my spine, and I'd be like, I hope you make it home safe, because it just looks, it's just dodgy as hell. And even though it looks a lot better now, I still like, I don't know, I don't think I'd ever want to get off at that station. Ooh, yeah. Because for a long time, it just seemed like it was just barely a patch of dirt. If there was a platform, dirt had already taken over. And the stairs probably were not very safe. There wasn't a lot of lighting. It just seemed creepy. Ugh, yeah. I hate that station. Ooh. Even when I go through it on Train Sim World 2, yeah, I'm just like, I just get the creeps even in the game. Yeah, it's, I think it's probably one of the worst for the longest time. It just was like, why did it even exist? Yeah. But I think they've made some improvements. Still, I would never feel safe getting off there. Ooh, yeah. Every time, like, when I would take the train, if we went right through 22nd Street, I'd be like, ooh, we dodged one there. Yeah. Like, I mean, honestly, if you think about it, if you're at the main station there in San Francisco, and that's the first stop, like, wouldn't it, I mean, I don't know that even taking a cab over there is any better, but that just seems like such a waste. It's not that far, really. But I'm guessing it's really unsafe to walk that distance, too. But yeah, I just, man. Yeah, never particularly cared for that station. Yeah, for many. And part of it, because before Caltrain, took over that route in the Southern Pacific. So I don't know that they ever really, of course, in the areas like Palo Alto, Menlo Park. Even Menlo Park was a bit dodgy for a while. Mountain View, like there's areas that would be probably maintained much better because you had people living there who were very affluent, so they didn't want it to look that bad. So it probably was a lot cleaner in some of the stations. But I think when Southern Pacific, if it was a station even under the Southern Pacific times that on that route, I don't think it was very well maintained. And so when Caltrain took it over, it was kind of like it wasn't a priority for them. It was still the main stations along the way. That was like an afterthought. It was like the redheaded stepchild of Peninsula Corridor. So I know I asked Nick last night, and I don't know that I may have not heard his answer. He did tell me. Like all those are more affluent areas because people who worked in the city lived there and they would commute on the train, and so they expected, it's just like people who come from Long Island into the city. A lot of people who live on Long Island are pretty affluent, and so they expect their stations to be maintained and clean and, at least the appearance of safe. I think that's the, So, Mick, I think I asked this last night, but if you did answer, I did hear, I apologize. When are we getting started on the new farm map on FS22? Do you want to try that tonight, or you said I think you were taking the day off from streaming today? But whatever you want to do, or we can do it. We could start it tomorrow, or whichever. Just curious if you. I know you wanted to try to get the Iron Maiden flight in on Friday. That's always we can do that, but I just didn't know if you had a plan yet for the new farm. If when you want to get that started. But the other thing too, Amila, yes, everything's out. It was all included with the update yesterday. It's all out now. So it's just, so there are the one plane right now that is WASM enabled, I guess you could call it, is the AN225, the big cargo plane from well, it was, I kind of read some history about it. So it was back when it was developed, it was under the old Soviet, and it was meant to be, the Russians thought it was like a way of, that they could use it with their space program, right? So kind of like with the modified 747 that carried the space shuttle, whenever they would land in California, they would have to fly it back to Florida until they had a landing strip there in Florida. Okay. New farm we can do. Okay, fair enough. That'll work. So that's what they developed that for when they had their own space shuttle, although it never flew, they never launched it, but they had a space shuttle like vehicle, and they put it on top of that 225, and then when the Soviet Union kind of broke up, now it's considered a company, because it's Ukrainian now that everything is all broken up. So yeah, there's a lot of history there about the plane that I didn't know. I kind of read up about it, but the AN214 was the one that preceded that, and I think they Nick was asking about it the other day. There was one, and I think maybe they still use it there at Moffett Federal Airfield. That is like I don't know about the PMDG stuff. That is coming, but we don't know when. PMDG has said that they're keen to get their products to the Microsoft Xbox Marketplace, but we don't know how soon that will be. So we don't even know what to expect tomorrow. It's going to be it's either going to go, we're going to be pleasantly surprised or pleasantly disappointed. We don't know what to expect. Yeah, it's anyway. But yeah, the 214, which was the predecessor to the 225, I think that's the one that I've seen at Moffett before, back in the early 2000s. So yes, the PMDG stuff's supposed to be coming. There's supposed to be more stuff available, but so basically last week what they did, Microsoft said this is the backlog of what the Xbox side is waiting for. There was like I don't know how many aircraft. It was like 46, maybe more, maybe less. I think that's the right number. That has been pending release on the Xbox Marketplace. So in order to get through that backlog, Microsoft has basically shifted everything back to the developers. They're responsible for the testing. They're supposed to be able to test everything before it's submitted to the marketplace, and it's supposed to be a much smoother process. That's the theory now, is that hopefully, but see now it's the developers, that's the thing that so last week on Thursday when the marketplace was updated, I did see the MV22 Oscar, right? And so I was like, wow, really? And then, so I'm waiting, I went in there, yep, there's the marketplace update, but I don't see the MV22 Oscar. Why is it showing this on the roadmap, the weekly update on Thursdays, but I don't see it in the marketplace? And so I hit the refresh on my browser. Lo and behold, nope, PC only now. Man. And again, it's just like one of those, it's like you just little bit of a knife in the back going like, we got you. You thought you were going to get this Thursday. Nope, you got to wait, Xbox folks. Haha, suckers. And it's just like those little things. It's like, really, you could double check before you hit the publish button? Because then you get you're like, oh man, finally we're getting something cool. Well, here's my question. Would it have been so terrible if we could have bought it last week and then just you put a disclaimer saying, oh, by the way, this will not really operate appropriately until after Sim Update 12? At least then okay, at least I have it, so as soon as Sim Update 12 happens, I can fly it. And what would have been so terrible with that? That's my question. But no, sorry, it's not coming yet. You guys gotta wait a little bit longer. It's just those little things, and again, it's not like I think it was intentional, but sometimes you wonder, are you guys just having a go at us? Like, you gotta wait some more. You Xbox folks better be freaking patient, or else. It's like the saying: the beatings will beatings will continue until morale improves. So yeah, I'm just come on. Is it that difficult? Is it really so difficult to make sure before you hit the publish the weekly roadmap that you double check everything and go like, oop, we shouldn't say this just yet. It's PC only. Stuff like that just drives me up the wall because it's just, what are you guys trying to do? Like, honestly. Alright, I missed something because even Joseph's saying true. What did I miss? Let me scroll back up here. I don't know if Joseph was just chiming in saying true, but I'm not sure what he was saying true to. He gets some, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, cool. And again, I would have been like, no, if it could have just ordered it and then they just said, hey, you can buy it now, but it's not going to work correctly until after Tuesday. Once Sim Update 12 is released, there you go, have at it. Would it have been that difficult to do, honestly? That's what I mean. That's the part that annoys me. And it's just I know people want to get their update, but just go over everything and go like, okay, before we hit publish, is everything legit? Is everything correct here before we hit the update for the roadmap for the week? Yep, everything's good. Off it goes. That's what, yeah, I don't quite get that part of it, but I don't know. I digress. I'm still trying to figure out what was it that was said that that Joseph chimed in true. I'm confused by that. I don't know. Joseph, would you care to chime in and say what was true that you were agreeing with? Let's hear it, Joseph. Spill the beans, young man. All right, well, we are near the end, actually. So here's what we got, right? We're going to go to iLobe, right there. And then we're going to pass that. We're going to head on to Maddie. That's only like a 19 nautical mile trip to Maddie. And then a 30... Is it 30? Yep, 30 nautical mile trip to JVL. They got a... Oh, yeah. 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 See, you'll be able to take off and land on that from the PC side, Nick. I can only land on it. I had turkey and provolone on a bagel last night for dinner. Just something simple. All right, so we're coming near the end here. So yeah, you'll have like the classic British carriers with the that they flew the Harriers on with the ski ramp when they launched the Harriers. That way they didn't have a catapult system. They would just basically start from the tail of the carrier and then they would kind of launch them in the air that way. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, so that's all we got coming up here, folks. But remember, from JVL to Jake's, we have 100 some odd nautical miles to go. 146, I think it was. Yeah, 146 nautical miles. So we're gonna be stepping down our altitude along the way over that 146 nautical miles, and eventually we'll be at 2,700 feet, and we'll be landing up on the ground, or not lining up on the ground. We'll be lining up to land. Not that there's anybody passing air traffic that we have to wait up to. But anyway, I guess I'm not going to give an answer. Oh well, like I said, everyone here and out the other. Now I know how Bex feels. I know you asked Joseph a question. I'll give him an answer. Yeah, I did look at that strike group thing though, Nick. Yeah, you're probably right, Amela. I'm not gonna hold my breath waiting for him to explain what he thought was true in the chat. Alright, so we'll get the JBL and then we'll... Is it, yes. No, wait, hold on a second. So we gotta go to 33. 36. So we need a 3,000. Let's go ahead and write it here right now. Yeah, you're probably right, Anoa. It's already forgotten. Killing me, Joseph. You really are. Never. It's okay, Joseph. I give up. I don't know, Nick. So you can buy. I think you could buy that directly from the developer. It might be a bit cheaper. I think part of it is when it's priced in the sim, it's priced like that because Microsoft takes a cut of the sale. So the developer gets a percentage, and then the Microsoft gets a percentage in the in-sim marketplace, from what I understand. So that's why I think the price is higher. But if you found a way to buy it directly from the developer, it might be a little bit cheaper, I would suspect. But part of it too is it's kind of like a what's the word? I don't want to say it's a gimmick. It's a let's get this. Gotta get used to people here. I think that we're out of the stratosphere. In fact, let's go to where are we at? So we can start reducing altitude now. More. Just do another 3,000 foot. No, that's not what I wanted. I didn't want an increase. Doggone it. No. Doggone it. I hit the wrong button. Ay. yeah, I think that's why it's usually more expensive in the instant marketplace. It's just that they prefer to have Microsoft takes their chunk of it, of the sale. I don't know what the percentage is. So. That's what I was trying to, and then I got myself all confused here. We're at the wrong ambush site. But something like that, I don't see like a Sobo or anybody going back in and placing them themselves. It's like they would rather pay or give somebody the opportunity to create it. I think that's part of the other thing too. Cruise here 30,000 feet for just a little bit. We'll get to just once it clicks over under 100 nautical miles to that nav point, and we'll go down. We'll do some more altitude here. But we're not going to do a massive reduction. We're just going to do our little steps. We may go down to like 25. All right. Now let's go to 25. All right. I know, Mick. Um, well, because the developers, so Sobo created, or they got all this information around the world, and then because they can't, I don't think they have the means to do everything on their own. So they put like a base, like here's the base game, and then somebody else will go out and put in the work to create or improve upon what they have. And then it becomes a matter of, so they do the work, which they should be compensated for. It's not like it's, to put all that stuff together, it does take time. Some people do it because they really do love the game and they want, or the sim, and they want everything to be, improved upon. But they know they're never going to get. It's not like they're going to get rich off of it either, right? So it's so something like a carrier group is it's a neat concept, because it only, if you want something more realistic, then you go fly in DCS instead, because you can actually take off and land on carriers. It's a that's how it goes, right? So then it's like you got to buy a whole nother sim altogether. But that's a combat sim. It is not a general aviation jetliner sort of thing. But there are people who fly in DCS who want the same experience in Flight Simulator, in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Like somebody asked the other day, I don't know where I saw it, when are we going to be able to shoot stuff in Microsoft Flight Simulator? Never. Ooh, wow, okay. All right, well, there we go. We're going to go to 17. So they're going to give us direction all the way the rest of the way. So, but it's neat. It's a neat concept that you can have a carrier strike group, although it's not moving. It may be stationary, but it's like, okay, I can land a Harrier on a British carrier, But it's not required to enjoy the sim, because some people are probably like, well, I can't be bothered to land and take off on a British carrier, or an American carrier for that matter, So, but is it like, would it be nice for them to just include something like that? Yeah, it would be. But is it going to happen for free? Probably not. Okay, okay. All right, folks, I gotta really start focusing, because there's a lot happening right now. We're chewing up um, distance here really quickly. But it's at the same time too. It's not like it's a something that is required for you to enjoy the sim, Nick. You don't have to have it. If it's too much, then you just say, well, I'd like to, but it's just not reasonable for me to do all this. So let's do our landing lights now. Because then you have to ask yourself, would you really take off and land on a British carrier? If the answer is no, then But yeah, some of the stuff is very pricey. But you know, like PMDG, their stuff, it's pricey, but it's very well made. They do take a lot of time and care to give you a quality product. But but if you look at the price, you're just like, no, I couldn't do it. You know? And some people on the Xbox side, they out of all of the 737s that PMDG has released so far, they probably only buy one, and that's probably the 737-800. That's it. They won't buy anything else. Because they can't afford every single one of those aircraft either. That's a lot of money. That at least that's my uh what I'm probably going to do is I will get the 800 series, because that's what most airlines still fly today, even though it's still got its issues. There we go. All right. Well, altimeter is correct now. Hey, Vengeful Squid! How are you? Nice to see you. I've been okay. I think since the last time I saw you, I fractured my right humerus back in mid-January. Had surgery on it about a week later. Have been recovering ever since. Did see the surgeon yesterday and got cleared to start physical therapy. And so yeah, it's been a rough couple months, but no, I was, you're going to laugh. I was walking, and it was a day that we had some very cold weather. There was a lot of standing water, and so there was very thin sheets of black ice. And so I was walking, and I was being very careful, but I stepped, and before I could get my footing, I was up in the air and on my back, and I went right on, my right elbow went right onto the sidewalk. And I tell people, I said, I think I screamed loud enough they heard me all the way on the West Coast. It hurt bad. And so I went to the ER. They're like, yep, you fractured your humerus, so you're gonna have to get surgery to repair that. Yep. And so I went in, it was like nearly, I think, anywhere from 6 to 8 hours of surgery. It might have been about 8. Because I went in that morning and I didn't get out till, yeah, I think it was closer to 8 hours of surgery. They cut open my right arm, like I got a huge scar now on my right arm. Over the elbow, it goes down into my forearm and up into my upper arm. They had to basically they had to cut back the muscle, and then they had to put in a block, and then they went in and put pins and plates and closed it back up, and so then they stapled it all. They said there was probably about 30 staples total to close it back up. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Yeah, it was just like, if I could go back in time on that day, because I tell you what, because I'm right arm dominant, the right hand dominant, it sucks. It's like you have to figure out how to adapt everything to just your left hand. Because the way the surgeon explained it to me after the surgery, he said, if you injure this arm again after the surgery, within the weeks, the time of recovery, because they put pins across the elbow joint, right? He said, if you mess those pins up, and this is what I was like, I can't screw this up. And he said, if you do that, I'm going to have to do a bone graft uh, to repair it. And I'm just like, no thanks, I don't want that at all. So which would mean even longer recovery time. It's okay, it happens. Luckily, everything's been covered by the VA. Even though I didn't do the surgery, like I called them and said, hey, this is what's happened, and they're like, well, are you sure it's not elective surgery? And the doctor told me it is. There's nothing elective about it. You need surgery to repair your arm. This isn't like a nip and a tuck. So yeah, I spent the night in the hospital after surgery. They took very good care of me. So I'm really thankful. Like, it's been phenomenal. So yeah. Boy, we're gonna be really cutting it tight here because we're only passing 10,000 now. We gotta get to 2,700. I should have been more on the ball, and I was trying to answer questions in the chat. Oops, a daisy. That's my fault. Yeah. Yeah, like I told the doc yesterday, he was like, I said, Doc, when you said if I mess this up again while I'm still recovering and you're going to have to do another surgery and it's not going to be very pleasant, I said, that was enough. I said, you're talking to a former Army medic. All you had to do was explain to me, if you do this, this is the outcome. Okay, Doc, I won't do that then. Because I don't want the outcome to be that I go back under the knife and you have to take bone out of my pelvis. Because that's an even longer recovery. No, thank you. So, ooh. So yeah, it's just he's like, oh, that's why that speech worked. I said, yeah. All you got to do is tell me if you do this is what I'm going to have to do. So that's all I needed to hear. I don't want to go back. Not that I didn't enjoy my stay in the hospital, although I did have a nurse ratchet, or no, nurse's aide ratchet that was not, when she came in that morning, I was just like, yeah, it's time for me to go home. I'm not going to stay here and listen to her be disrespectful to her coworkers. Oh, she was, oh my goodness. All right, folks, I really got to focus on landing because this is going to be a really tough one today. And I thought the one there in Rio de Janeiro was tough. This is going to be even worse, I think. We're probably gonna miss this one. I'm gonna be surprised if we're nowhere near our. Yep, look at that. Doggone it. All right, let's get on the ground, folks. This might be the miracle of miracles today. I should have been slowing down a long time ago. Boy, yeah, look at that. We're all right, looks like we've got the glide slope. I don't know how we did it, but we're there.
2,500.
Man. That was, I don't know how that worked out that way, but it did. Barely. Barely. All right, here we go. Joseph, it is very cloudy. You're right.
1,000.
That's the live weather. That's what it's supposed to be like in Grand Rapids right now. Boy, there must be a bit of a crosswind too.
400.
Yep, there is. Oh, we are way off the line.
100. 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard, drive.
There we go. Oh, made it. All right, on behalf of myself and the entire flight crew, we'd like to welcome you to Grand Rapids, Michigan. Local time, I do believe, is 8:57 in the morning. The things we do for love. We understand, appreciate the fact that it is middle of the week. We're glad you chose to fly with us today. Today's flight brought to you by Parasox Airline. Parasox, just because you have a pair of socks does that mean you have to match. Yeah, that was that was a bit sketchy. We were way, I was worried we were going to be way to the right of the runway there coming in, but that's all right, we got it. Why would you go up there? All right, so now here's the deal. There is our airport right there, or terminal and all that. Now, let's stop here. we're not going to go to our parking assignment exactly. We are going to go where the plane actually went to once it arrived. So I know roughly where it is. Oh yeah. Whew. I don't like approaches that don't have an arrival portion in the flight. It definitely makes it way more difficult to deal with. I prefer to have that the arrival portion, because then it's just like I can get the aircraft set up a little bit easier. That I did not expect that to work, to be honest. I thought for sure it was going to end that. You already have to go over. Alright, so that's where they're telling us to go. The actual parking spot is on the other side of this terminal right here. So that's where we're going to go. The one that this flight terminated at the other day. So the gate numbers are not correct here. And look at this. This is what, yeah. What's going on here? Somebody really needs to tidy this place up. I don't know what's supposed to be happening here, but... Alright, so this is the A terminal. The B terminal where this flight terminated at is right there in front of us, and we got to go around on the other side. That's the great thing about using FlightAware. You can get this information, and even if the airport isn't correct in the sim, you can still get a. Look at that. Doesn't seem on the up and up either. Oh, thank you, Paradox. We're glad you were able to hang out. Thank you for flying along for a while today as well. We want to be on the other side of that aircraft right there. we go. All right, let's end this thing. There we go. Look at that. Hour 46 in the air. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right. Well, there we go. Hopefully you enjoyed today's flight. We'll be back Monday in the Yonkers 52. I will put a flight plan together for that, and then next Friday, a week from this Friday, we'll do something else. We'll probably do another jetliner flight. We'll try to find something interesting to do for us. So yeah, not too bad. Not too bad at all. That approach was a bit suspect. Take care, Vengeful Squid. Thanks for stopping by. Nice to see you again. Hopefully you stay well. Stay healthy. Don't be like me and break your arm. The A310. Eventually we will. I do need to practice with that a little bit more. I think I have the time. I could basically what you're welcome, Joseph. Basically what I got to do. 737 NG driver. He did a whole tutorial on the A310, and what I really need to do is I need to follow along his tutorial and get comfortable with putting stuff in the FMS by hand. So yeah, that's a lot of work, but yeah, that's the only thing is, and you know, it's going to be a time consuming process, you know, kind of like and I gotta snooze the the ads, otherwise they're going to start here in about 5 minutes. They what do you call it? The issue is that it makes it difficult, like trying to do all that stuff and pay attention to the chat. You know, study level stuff. It's like people have to learn to be patient when I'm trying to do all that. That's the tricky part, I think, and I have to be patient as well. So so yeah, I don't know. But eventually we're gonna do that. We're gonna do a flight in the Concorde. You know, all kinds of stuff. So there's still more to come, but we'll see about next week what we're gonna do. Um, if we do an A310, it might just be a flight San Francisco down to LAX. You know, because that's a pretty short. That's like an hour or something in the air. We may do that. Yeah. Uh, yeah, it's a bit tough. So otherwise, people get a bit fussy and whatnot, and So anyway, but yeah, we'll see. I'll see if I can't try to figure out how to do it all on my own, and just kind of watch him and do, but not replicate the route that he flew. Because I like to do something kind of on my own, and that way it gives me a better sense of satisfaction that I did it. But anyway, so yeah, let's wrap things up. I will see you all Monday, normal time, 6:45 Eastern. I think this weekend the UK folks changed their time. I'll have to make sure I update my schedule as well for my UK viewers and the UTC and all that good stuff, so that everybody's on the same sheet of music as to when I go live. But the time will always be 6:45 Eastern, unless something happens and I cancel, and then I'll post that in the Discord. So anyway, do enjoy do enjoy the rest of your Monday morning, afternoon, evening, early Thursday already for some folks out there in the world. I have been and always shall be your host and pilot, Uncle B, until Monday, at least back when we're in the Euchers. Peace, live long and prosper.